What's going on, guys? It's your boy Player X,
Alongside Dylan,
and we are semi-limited.
the motherfucking podcast.
So, just to give you guys a heads up, this episode is going to be a little brief. We're only going to be talking about a couple topics today. Some highlights would be like the YCS that just happened over in Sydney, where I think Jesse Cotton took the W. He got his 5th ring now. We're also going to be talking about some market watch cards from some archetypes that have been doing well in the last couple of weeks, and some tech cards that we kind of think were pretty good snags at the prices that they're at.
Decks that just won't fucking die. They're here.
They just won't die. I wish they would, but they won't. They won't die. And then we're also going to talk about Amazing Defenders, which is about to release, and the archetypes that are within it. So it's going to be a pretty brief episode. But to kick things off, let's talk about the YCS Sydney that just happened. I know there wasn't any coverage over it. It was just a lot of people talking on the Facebook groups and over Twitter and stuff. A lot of people keeping their followings updated. But did you catch any of it? Paying attention to it online or anything?
I was at work while it was going on, and I was just getting updates, about who was topping, what was making it. I thought it was interesting. The last spot, which had 2 represented in it, which you mentioned was Sword Soul. The motherfuckers that just won't die.
Yeah, man. I mean, coming from like what 5 or 6, 7 different formats ago, when they were topping, I think Hansel just won. Well, he won one of the YCS with it, and then I think he just topped the regional in Queens. I think he topped the Queens regional. I'm not sure if he was playing Sword Soul, but I'm pretty sure he got first place.
You are one with the sword. You are one with the soul. If you just draw a Moye and then you could get other shit to just board break, you are in the game.
If I see a normal Moye and then reveal Longyong, I just already know I'm in for a bad time. Like off the
Dude,
rip.
I was playing Dan with that my return tour to the game, and I thought this is going to be easy. Like, I got game 1 no problem, and then he just had Bestials in it and just stopped every one of my fusions and then just did what fucking
And then Sword Soul
does.
comboed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, do you have anything? No. I don't.
And it's funny because if you disrupt any of the like bodies on board, they can also use the Bestials as bodies to keep like synchroing into the level 10s. So I kind of like that as the aspect of now you have like Incredible Ecclesia can by itself and get you at least to the Longyong or maybe the Qinglong, the one that burns and draws for when synchros come out. So I kind of like the application of Bestials in there.
It's kind of problematic too, because if you instead of going into Baron, you go into their other synchro there, you're in some trouble if you don't have field spell out because you can't beat over him, and the more you banish, the stronger he gets.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could do at some points was just banish his grave so he couldn't activate Grandmaster and just for the monster negate, but that's literally it.
I mean, yeah, there's not much to do when he touches down. Plus, he's lowering your monsters as well.
Yeah, lowering and getting stronger.
It's definitely a lot to deal with. So I can understand why 2 of them got into the top 32. So for those who don't know the top 32 for the YCS, there was 21 tier players, 4 Sprite players, 3 Flute players, 2 Runic players, and 2 Sword Soul players, with Jesse Cotton taking it all with tier. So that means that
Big number 5.
yeah,
Big number 5.
rank number 5. Do you feel as though like Sword Soul is like surprising being in that top 32? Because I'm not surprised by tier. I'm not surprised by Sprite. Even Flu, like they've snuck their way in. Runic, if it was pure, it's just Floodgate City. And if it was with Sprite, that engine kind of carried them up. Maybe if it was like Runic Materia, I'd be a little bit more shocked. But I don't know. I feel like Sword Soul has always been able to compete. It's probably the strongest generic deck that's just straight down the middle, pretty linear, but also very strong. That's come out in the last couple of years. I feel as though like it's not anything super special, but it's always strong.
You just need to see 1 card to start, and you got 6 ways to get it.
Yeah, true.
With Emergence, that. Also a big thing, Nibiru's not being feared right now.
Yeah, no, it's not being respected at all. I agree.
And when that's like that, that's when Sword Soul comes out to play. You know what I mean?
And not even that. I feel as though Nibiru, that is, will be making its way back into the format next core set when Photon Hypernova comes out. Just because of the fact that I think that it'll be easier to deal with the Kashtira board, but decks like this also will be hindered by it.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel as though there's going to be a ton of Sprite off the rip, but I could be wrong. But Sprite does kind of cancel out and keep cards like Nibiru in check. You know, once Gigantic activates its effects, you're both locked out. You know, you're not activating those cards to begin with. So I don't know. I might keep it in check.
Yeah, speaking of Sprite and in check, there's a sweet little card that just came out that you're a huge fan of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, 100%. We're gonna get to that. That's I love it. Buzz. Well, what about Jesse Cotton getting his 5th ring? I've been around for about 3 years now, and there were no YCSs or I guess Nats or like big events during the COVID season when I started in late 2019, so early 2020 when the crush card virus got it flipped on the world. I wasn't able to see any competitive play, and the first YCS I was going to go to was somewhere in Connecticut, and we were planning to go there, and then everything got shut down, the world closed, and I wasn't able to go. But I've never been to a YCS myself, but do you feel as though like winning 5 YCSs is like, I mean, that's like tied up there, I think, with Billy Brake, who got so good that Konami had to literally sign him so that way he would stop winning.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome to see. You can't really hate on someone for winning. It's gonna be cool to see how he does post tier, once that switches up, and see if he stays dominant. But 5 is sweet to see, man. I want to see how many more he can get.
I think he's tied with Chris LeBlanc now with 5. I think Chris got his 5th this year or last year.
That's the announcer?
No, right? No, that's Billy Brake. Billy Brake is the announcer. He works, or not the announcer, but like the commentator or whatever. He works for Konami. Right. Chris LeBlanc just won with Sprite tier, I think, in Minnesota when Albert and Brendan went to that YCS.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we met him at the regional afterwards in Catskills. I don't know if you went to that regional in November last year, but we talked to him for a little bit. Yeah, he goes to a lot of their events. He's one of those regional runners. He's earning his Worlds points with like Shuping and Pack. So and I don't remember how to calculate Worlds points off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure Shuping and him are like neck and neck. I want to say Shu has like 330 as of right now, and then Chris LeBlanc has maybe 230, 213, something like that. But like, yeah, they're pretty up there. So they really a lot of players right now are grinding for their Worlds points.
5 straight will help you get there, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, look, if you were to sit down in front of Jesse Cotton, do you feel as though, all right, I've already lost? You know what I'm saying? Or is like, would you even bother playing it out?
No, yeah, absolutely. I'd fucking play it out. Because, what about that? I made him lose the first game. You know what I mean? Or you just crush that chance for him.
Have you ever watched a Kung Fu fight where they have like a swarm of people come after one guy? And this one guy has beaten the shit out of like 14, 15, 16 odd people. And then the leader will look at himself and then send like 6 or 7 more guys. Now, in my head, I always think that sending those 6 or 7 guys, those guys have to realize that they just watched that one man kick 16 asses and not break a sweat. And they think that they're gonna be the ones to do damage on him. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the one.
So you're saying I'm the henchman? That's like, all right, boss fucking sent me here. You're fucking done, Jesse. And then I go in for a sweet judo chop, and he fucking breaks my wrist right away. You're saying I'm just I'm just done before it even started.
5-time champ. So do you think that you're gonna sit across from Jesse Cotton, and Jesse Cotton is thinking that this no-name nobody is about to take me out of contention for my 5th ring? You know what I'm saying? Like, I watch those scenes and be like, wow, that guy's dumb as fuck for thinking that he can really take that guy on. That's not to say you don't play him. I'm not saying I'm ever scared of anyone, but at the same point in time, it's like, well, this is an uphill fight from the rip. There ain't no easy ones, I guess.
Switch your round 1 opponent. Good luck for the rest of the day, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Didn't that happen to Dave Hayes? Didn't he play Jesse Cotton round 1 in Niagara?
I wouldn't know. That sounds like a sweet Dave Hayes story, so I believe it.
That does sound like a sweet Dave Hayes story. You're right. But getting into these market watches for these cards, we're going to talk about some archetypes and some cards within the archetypes that we feel as though are some good picks. Some have been going up, some have been going down, some are good buys, some are good sells, and we're going to talk about them all right now. Starting off with Sword Soul, we are going to talk about Moye, which has 2 printings, the original set Secrets, Burst of Destiny, and a Magnificent Mavens Ultra, which just recently got reprinted. The secrets right now are $19 for Near Mint's first edition. So like $18.95 with shipping included. Some of them are at $15 with $5 shipping. So like that's still about like $18 to $20 ish. Quickly going up to about 25, 30. Yeah, you're about maybe 9 or 10 copies until the secrets are about $30. And if we were to go back to the ultras, it's looking like, yeah, those ultras that used to be, let's see, $1.28 are now like $3.45 now. So they're all definitely spiking. If you got in on that dip about maybe 3 months ago, that's crazy. You are definitely plussing right now.
It makes me feel great that I still have mine.
Yeah, anyone who capped is still. I mean, it's not the $55 that it once was. If you check the chart, they were once like really up there. Like Sword Soul Moyes were pricey. I think even $20 was a good price for it back in the day. So for them to be on their way up to 30, I think that's solid. Yes. We also have Sword Soul Grandmaster Shizhao, and I apologize if I butcher some of these names. I try to say it as properly as I can. We have the Ultras and the Secrets, this core set Secret from Burst of Destiny and the Ultra from Magnificent Mavens. Talking about the Secret first, it looks like our lightly plays started about $5.30, but we quickly go up $7.50 to $8 for the Secret Near Mint, which is pretty good. We had about $5 for them before. I could see that the chart that even in early October there was as low as like $4. Like no one was really playing Sword Soul. If you had your copies, you had your copies. No one was really buying it. But with the reprint, people are now playing it, picking it up. They have more access to it, so they kind of, obviously if they fall in love with the deck or like the deck, they're gonna want to bling it out a little bit. That's at least how I work. So. And then we also have Baron de Fleur here, which is a solo print right now out of Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm as an Ultra. He's actually down right now, so which is good because he's getting a reprint soon. You can see that 105 was the peak in November, and then that's when the reprint got announced, and it quickly shot down to about $75-ish. And then it slowly kind of came back up to about 80, it looks like. But then it had a crazy run for some reason when it ran back up to 100. It was $105 again, and then now we're seeing another decline into it. And the lowest listing right now for Near Mint's verified is about $88, which is I think a solid price for the Ultra if you need to play it now. If there's regionals coming up by you and you have to get the card, course or OG Ultras aren't bad, but at the same point in time, just wait for the reprint. It could come out as another Ultra, and the only way that the Synchro Storm I feel as though would hold its value as being a higher rarity one is if it gets reprinted as a super, which I know damn well it won't come as a common. But if it gets reprinted as a secret, I feel as though some people will go for the secret more, and it's got to kind of level out this bar and drop the Barone down from the 80 that it is, or almost 90 that it is, down to like whatever the sequel would be, would probably be about $25 to $30 on release to try to counter each other out. We have Sword Soul Emergence here from Burst of Destiny. We also have it from Magnificent Mavens, both as Ultra prints. It looks like the Burst of Destiny ones, if you got in on those, same thing back in November when they were like $1.50, $2, it looks like. You could have almost quadrupled your money. They're looking like $5 for lightly played. Near Mints are looking like $5.50, $6 for just the Ultras. And then the Marvelous Maven ones were $2 or $3, and now they're $4 to $5. So like, for that, you might as well spend the extra $1.50 or so and just go get the Burst of Destiny ones, because if you're gonna play the same rarity, you might as well have OG sets.
Yeah, especially when they're this cheap. Just fucking do it, you cheap fucks.
Yeah, you cheap fucks. All right, fast forwarding over to Darkwing Blast. We just got a couple Cashier cards for the new format coming out. You can obviously tell that Cashier is going to be one of the contenders going against the tier menaces up there, aka Dylan and his comrades.
My gals will get you.
We have
my birthday gals.
They will. You better watch out. We have Fenrir here, coming out of Darkwing Blast, solo printing, obviously, with the lowest verified seller at $70. So that's crazy. I remember I got these when they were pre-selling. It looks like what, for $40? Yeah, they were pre-selling for $42. and I got mine for 35s. I think all three of them for 35 from the same buyer, and I still thought that that was a steal. And to see them spike up to 60 and then now go up to 70 is crazy to me. And I feel as though it might honestly hit 80 before the next format comes out, just for hype.
You'd hate to see that. You'd hate to see it.
You do. The same thing happened to Unicorn. Unicorn was a $25 card on release. It dropped down to about a $5 or $6 card. I remember getting my playset of Unicorns for $10. So now to see it at $21, $22, quickly going up to 25, 27, like crazy. That's crazy to me. Like I got mine for $3 or $4. The hype for this deck coming up is insane.
Oh yeah, dude. I was gonna pick it up. Just slept on it. Let the New York buddies got them from local.
Yeah, Heart of the Podcast. Yep.
Yep. Shout out to them. I think you got some Fenrirs for them that I was gonna pick, and you specifically said, "Galoni, fuck off. Don't be a dick."
I definitely did say
Let
that.
'em go.
Yeah. And it was Nick, because Nick he's trying to play a different deck from what he was on. He's a hero player, and I was just trying to get him to play anything else. And Cashier was just something he kind of had interest in, and it was a deck that I was also personally playing, so like I could teach him the ins and outs. We can have like a buddy to like, throw ideas off of and bounce ideas off of and stuff. So now he's costing Fenrirs for people.
You cost me this much.
But also we have Diablosis the Mind Hacker. I had to go get those for him as well. And those that were about $2 on release, and I remember trying to grab as many as I could for about like $1.50, or throw them in trays, or just tell people like Barry, like, "Yo, I'm taking this. You can fight me for it if you want." And they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna fight you. You got it." But I was grabbing them for as low as I could, and now they're about a $5 card after shipping. They're about $4.40, $4.30ish. You can see them going to about $5.50 with the dollar shipping after that, but they used to be $1 card, and I can only see Mind Hacker going to maybe the same heights that what was the prize card that got reprinted, the Light Sworn one?
Minerva.
Yeah, Minerva. So I can see it hitting the Minerva prices, where Minerva got bought out to about $15, $20, just because it was the only accessible printing of this prize card that was out for the regular players that aren't winning YCSs and topping worlds and shit like that. So definitely make sure you hold on to these Diabloses. If you're even able to get them at like $3 or $4, I would definitely still hoard these until they hit about the $10 mark. Then start slowly unloading some copies until as they slowly go up to about 15 to 20 as the deck picks up. Speaking of cards picking up, Dylan had a very good pick for the Kashtira side deck, which will be hopefully seeing some play next format.
And that card is the one, the only Kurikara. It's popping up. Again, I slept on that one, and I knew I should have picked that up. It's not terribly too high right now to just scoop it up, but you'll definitely want to get them soon, because it's probably gaining popularity.
Yeah, in comparison from when you could have picked them up, they were as low as it's looking like from the chart. Even when the Unlims came out, the Unlims for Power of the Elements came out, they were still about $8, and they dropped to about $6 or $7, and you could have got them for about $8 to $10 online up until about like the last week, and then they just spiked all the way up to 18. And it's
they're almost released.
I figured it's a good card though.
Yeah, it's a good generic card for them. Definitely a good card to get right now.
It deals with the mirror match as well, just because a lot of cards in the Kashtira archetype will activate and stay on board, like Shangri-La, Rise Heart, Fenrir, Unicorn, et cetera, et cetera. So even in side decks outside of Kashtira, like using it against Kashtira, it still has application. If you can stick to Kurikara, you basically won the game.
I agree. This is gonna be all the cards.
And but I also agree with you saying I would bite the bullet. If you don't have any, go secure yourself a playset. It's about $14, $15 right now, quickly going up to about 16, 17. So if you can go to your locals and get one for about maybe like, I wouldn't pay more than like 12s to 15s, but if you can get them for about anywhere between the $10 to $12 range, get yourself a playset, secure it down. You just don't want to pay more if this card does wind up being.
So I'm just looking at Darkwing Blast right now, just because it's a good set. There's a lot of good money cards in there, especially in overpriced supers and shit. But Spellbound is at like $6 right now.
Yeah, I'm glad. That was a bad pickup.
Did you starting at fucking 53 all the way till its huge drop to the bottom here? That's crazy. Now, why do you think that's such a bad pickup?
Just because it's one of those cards where it's got to be proven good before it can see its spike like that. Like it reminds me kind of how Crossout Designator was, where it came out and it was $120 a copy, and you had to pay $300 to get your set, and you needed it because it was gonna change the game, the way people deck build it and stuff like that. And if you bought for $100 a copy, boy oh boy is your ass sore from getting bent over at the plummet of that card. You know what I'm saying? It was just another card that got hyped up that didn't see any proven concept and just a whole bunch of paper thoughts. And I think that Spellbound's the same way. It feels good on paper, but the application is very, very little.
Pretty good. Right after your second summon for cash, stop it right there. You'll still have the big bodies, but you won't be going into your XYZs.
You won't be going into your XYZs, but most of the time, like you can just keep putting more bodies on the board. It's only the bodies that are currently there. So you're telling me that throughout your combo as a tier player, you're going to commit all your monsters to the board and not have any plays in hand or in graveyard that you can get monsters out?
Tiers don't work like that, regardless.
Well, I mean, yeah. So if you brought out a Reinhardt and you go not Reinhardt chain 1 to Foolish, and someone chained Spellbound, and you got Sheeran in hand, you don't give a fuck about that Reinhardt. You're just going to Sheeran send another one. Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So now it's more or less you have to wait for a choke point in the combo to where they can't extend past where they're going without using monsters on the board, but also the monsters on the board can't be negates to stop the Spellbound. You know what I'm saying? So you're caught in this limbar of, yeah, this card is good, but only in certain situations. And I didn't think it merited the $45 price tag from pre-release when it's proving to be a $7 card because no one's playing it now.
You want to know what's not a $7 card?
What's not a $7 card?
Bright Blue. Let's get into that.
I'll get into that. Sprite Blue right now, a solo print secret out of Power of the Elements. The first edition near mints are sitting at about a solid $48, $48, $49, $50, which is good. The unlims, if you're looking to get like a more budget build for it, are sitting more to $41 mark, closer to 40, 42.
Folks, spend the $6. Get the first.
Yeah, spend the $6.
You won't regret it. You will not regret it.
You will never hear me say go get an unlim unless it's an ulti or a ghost, and the condition has to be superb. But on release, a $50 card, I remember grabbing mine for about 40 a copy, I think. It spiked up to about 60 for a little bit, and then it had to compete with Tier Elements, and you can see it drop all the way back down to about $35. Spiked back up when Runic was playing with it, and the Turias, and then the unlims dropped in early December, which caused the cards to come down to about another $35 they met. And then now you can see them spiking back up now with more sprites seeing top plays and top contentions, and with the new tech cards they're playing, they're doing a whole bunch of good cool things in the format, and really competing with decks like Tier Elements and Kashtira and Fluanderies, and I don't know, I feel as though they're really putting in work. So I would get yours.
Yes, it's a little generic 2 deck. These decks remind me of something like decks that were around forever, like had their own little gimmick, like Invoked or something like that. This might be a new version.
I feel you.
Of those.
It incorporates a lot. It's not even like it's a single, mechanic pony. Like it has a lot of ways to go.
I meant that by it's level 2 theme. But yeah, I think they're gonna be around for a little bit here. So and unless they get neutered, but I can't see that happening.
No, I agree with that, especially with cards like because they can play tech cards like what we were talking about earlier in the podcast. The number 2 Ninja Shadow Mosquito, he came out in Battles of Legends as a solo print secret, and he currently, I think it was like he was like $5 or $6 on release, $8 pre-sale on release, dropped to $5. And then he quickly became like $1 card, like less than $1. I think he was selling for like 50 cents or so. And I feel as though people need to start stockpiling up on it. I was talking with Josh earlier, and he was talking about how implemented it is in not only Sprite, but like decks like Tri Brigade or any other like Paleozoics, anything that can slap 2 level 2s on the board can make this, and not only go for a Zeus play that's guaranteed because it can't be destroyed by battle and no one takes battle damage, but you can also steal games away from people with this card. It's not once per turn, and it is on every attack declaration, and all monsters must attack, and that includes them not being able to skip battle phase. We learned that as well, that you have to go into battle phase and attack with this card. Like, you can't just be like, main phase 1, all right, I'm just going to end turn. No, as long as this card's face up on the field, you have to go to battle phase, you have to attack. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just reading it now. I'm late to the party, sorry.
It's all right. Most people are late to the party, but I told a bunch of the Sprite players and our locals like Brad and Josh about this card when it first came out, and nobody believed me. Nobody wanted to cut space. Everyone was still on Cat Shark. Everyone was still on Sky Cav. And I was like, yo, guys, I'm telling you, this is going to cut a lot of that extra deck space, so that way you can start playing more diversity in your extra deck and stop having to dedicate so many cards to just going second to just making Zeus. Or you don't have to play the Sky Cab into the Downer into all this. You can just make Mosquito.
That's crazy. You could just make them attack right now. Yeah. I agree with what you said there. It's a nice little tech, just to add to that toolbox arsenal that they have for those level 2s.
Yeah, I think it's really crazy. Good card. Like, another good card that I'm gonna throw in right there would be Double Cross for the Sprite engine. Out of Darkwing Blast is a Solo Print Super. Started out as like $2 on pre-sale, but quickly came down to about a 15-20 cent card. I would grab those too. I would grab those in abundances. I'd grab Double Crosses. Like, it's such a good card. It was slept on at first, but as the meta starts to slow down, it just becomes such a better card. It can take a monster, it can attach a monster, it could special summon a monster from the graveyard. At worst case, if you search for Double Cross as your normal combo develops, you just have, instead of a 2-toad with Totally Awesome and Elf, you have 3 toads with Totally Awesome itself, Elf bringing it back, and then Double Cross bringing it back. So it turns into 3 negates, which means you're taking 3 cards away from your opponent and or setting them, which means you're now gaining more advantage, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I just like the card.
Absolutely. When that card resolves, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and the first one to get to it in the mirror match is so good. They're in such a good position, like, because you're able to just take your opponent's normal summon, and then that's it. Like, they're not playing.
Man, the more we're talking about this deck, the more I want to play it. It's
You should. I will get you onto it. Mark my words, podcast. We're gonna get Dylan to play Sprites.
I'm a tier slut. I don't know what you want.
I know you are a tier slut, but we're gonna make you a Sprite pimp. You're gonna
that
be
electric hand strong. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta keep that hand strong.
We also had another archetype that left for a little bit, but is back. If you wanted to get into the return of Bird Up.
Yeah, Bird Up is definitely getting crazy right now. You can see Lyreless Bird Call coming out of Synchro Storm with the Baron as well as in one of the Ultras competing for that box. Absolutely spiked when Reciting went to 2. You can see it went from about a $1.50 card to about maybe $5-6. And now with the Tri Brigade doing so good in the OCG, it's really running right now. You can see copies starting at $7. The lightly plays are about $4, but then you got near mint starting at $5.50, $6.50, almost $7. There's only 74 listings, less than 100. You always want to make sure you keep a flag out for cards that with less than 100 listings, so that way the BIOS don't take you by surprise. So that's another good one, as well as Fractal and Shireg coming out of Phantom Rage and the 2020 Megatins, respectively. The Ultras right now for OG sets are still light plays for $4. I remember when this was a $2 card. Yeah, it says back in November this was a $2 card, and I remember that. But now, right now, you can see them coming up. Like, they're about doubled. So if you invested in it, or you knew, or you just picked up fractals like along the way, like, you're definitely paying off.
The beautiful head of hair he has there. So respectively so at $4 right now.
Yes, even the secrets are going up to what, like, yeah, secrets right now are about $4 too. I mean, for that, yeah, go get secrets. Why would you want his hair to be like plain and like dull when you can have it sparkling, sizzling? You know what I'm saying?
Put that head and shoulders in there. Fuck,
I like that. And even with Shireg, you have Shiregs, the OG prints that used to be $18 when they first came out, are now at like what, $10? Numerous going for about $9 right now isn't bad, especially when the Ultras are about $2 themselves. coming out of the same Megaton that the Fractals did. But for that, you might as well just get the secrets. I feel as though it's not that pricey. It can go up obviously if it has been up, and you just gotta catch the wave. I feel as though the next format might be a little too late, so I would get them now. I think that's a buy now thing.
Core is pretty good right now, so you might as well pick it up. It's always a deck that can come back. The last one is the Dragon himself, Lubellion. Bestial, good archetype, good price on all of them if you own them already. If not, see right here, we got it at $63. This is another card that's been sort of a roller coaster, but from 76 all the way down to 50 and now back up to 63 like we said. Hopefully Devon, that quitter, didn't sell his too soon.
Oh, he did. He sold his playset of Lubellions and his access code for $160. So I would say the access code had been going for about 30, so it was probably about 140 for the set of Lubellions.
Swing and a miss, Devon. That's what you get for quitting. But ooh, ouch. Yeah, you should have kept those. Should still be playing them. Ouch. Yeah, 63, my man.
Yeah, man. Dragon Link's not the same without Lubellion.
Yeah, definitely take an L when you rebuy those.
Because you know damn well he will.
Oh, he'll be back. Oh, he'll be
That's funny. But yeah, as you can see, Lubellions are at $63 right now near mints. Quickly going up to about 65, 67. But there's only 54 listings, so you got about like maybe 20, 25 copies before it becomes a $70 card. So I would definitely, if you are interested in playing any dragon-related deck or any deck that's going to be running Bestials like Despia or Branded, I would definitely get your Rebellions now. Bite the bullet. This is the pre-sale price. They're not going to go down any further than now. I would just get them for a good price. If you could snag the playset for $150, I would say pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, a lot of local people thinking a Luber story isn't done, so you could probably expect to see more support in the coming months.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's better to have your stuff now and not need it and sell it off when there's more hype for an archetype than to hold on to it for too long past where an archetype is like the flame has died.
Thinking about flames coming in hot, we have 3 new ones coming up in the next set. Amazing defenders. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is going to be the best one here out of the 3? We'll talk about it in order.
Well, there's Makenko, which is a ritual-based deck. Then there is Rescue Ace, which is a spell, quick play spell, and utility deck. And then there's Pirelli, which is the AKA EV deck, and that is an XYZ focused deck. So out of all 3 of them, I feel as though personally I've played against all 3 of these decks in the new format as I've been playtesting and preparing for post Photon Hypernova with Kashtiras. And the only one that really put up a good fight was the Rescue Ace. But I still think that deck core, it's mids right now until it gets support or maybe some new cards somewhere down the line. Just relying off that Hydrant being on field is just a little too much, like jumping through hoops for me. Like now you got to see a level 1. Yeah, it's machine dupable. You know, a lot of the cards in that archetype are, but at the same point in time, if anything happens to it on field, you're not really having a good time. Or if you don't open it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool little deck. I like all the quick effects just by your opponent, you know, activating cards. You get to play on their turn, so it's interactive.
Yeah, setting 4 quick play spells from your deck at any point in time, I don't care what archetype it is kind of broken.
What is it? The Merkenko. I just watched a quick video on those. That seemed a little interesting. Just the dynamic of stealing your opponent's card and then using it for utility for your extra deck to just, you know, link with them or XYZ with it. So that's pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, they're getting used with Libromancers.
Yeah, you know, and I thought rituals were just, you know, a thing of the past, and this is another opportunity for them to shine again, especially after Drytron. So it's cool to see, you know, if you listened to our past episode, we talked about older styles of play getting revamped for modern Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, 100%. And I feel as though this is kind of on point with that. Like, there's a new spell that comes out in either a future set or maybe it's that set too, where every time a ritual monster is special summoned, they get to pop a spell trap on the field. And then they get a link monster that says quick effect, send this card to the graveyard, and then ritual summon out a monster from either your hand or your deck or something like that. It's something obnoxious. And I was like, yo, this is insane. Like this, they're starting to do some really crazy things with like these mechanics.
Yeah, I like where they're going with it. You know, because when you were a kid, you got those blue cards, and you thought, "Oh, this is sweet." And
I thought, oh well, I'm negging one to
yeah,
play this card.
yeah, exactly. Then when you get into the game, you're like, "Well, these suck."
This hungry hamburger, I can't just stick on the
yeah,
field.
hungry hamburger. What a goat. Yeah, and then what is it? Per Lily, you said it's like an EV type deck. Per Lily, fuck them. You said it's just like an EV deck or something like that. Would you like to go into detail?
Yeah, it's not. It's not. I don't want to say waifu, but it's definitely like a fan based deck. It's like one of the cuties, kind of like Melfi, where like all the versions of itself are like cute.
Yeah, check the Discord channel for sweet fan art.
Yeah, go to the waifu post NFFW if you want to see Pearly pics for all you furries out there.
Christ.
But the Pearlies are just monsters that overlay into XYZs, and then the spell cards, when they're played, will attach themselves to XYZs and give the XYZs that they're attached to extra abilities and extra effects, like attacking more times, being able to spin cards your opponent controls, gaining attack for each material, yada yada. Which isn't a bad thing, but now you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and I hate decks like that. If anything happens to the one monster, it's over for you.
Oh yeah, agreed. Just keeping this one short.
Just to give a heads up, for our next episode, before we run out of time here tonight, we will be talking about Edison format and its sudden popularity, its sudden boom, if you will, and the boomers. And what's been up with it? Like, what is it? What are some people's opinions on it? We're going to have some more people from our locals who have been bringing more light and popularity to the format on our show.
Seeing a lot of old heads on Facebook popping up, so we'd like to just get into it and see why they're back for this. So that'll be something to look forward to. And one more thing before we go, now that you made it to the end of the episode, we have a few shout outs. Join our semi-limited podcast Discord channel if you want. It's always a good place to be, hang out with some local guys and talk some shit.
Not only that, but you can also keep up to date with all the new cards that get dropped as soon as they get announced, and talk directly to us, semi-limited, and tell us your questions, your concerns, any sort of like comments you may have, or improvements we can make, topics you want us to discuss. You name it, we're listening to you, and we're gonna make sure it happens.
One thing, we are looking to get into fucking rockin' merch for the podcast. You know, the freshest shit for our fans. So eye out for that.
Also, shout out to Unplugged Gaming and Manlius for their continued support on the podcast.
And with that, I think we are out of life points. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Semi Limited, the motherfucking podcast. I am Dylan.
I'm Player X, and we are Semi Limited.
We'll catch you next time.